The Russian war in Ukraine continues. The heroic Ukrainian army shows a rare resistance that will be the subject of history books. Russia, on the other hand, has not achieved the success it wanted since the beginning of the war. The other striking news from the battlefield is as follows. It is known that Chechen leader Kadyrov and Russian President Putin have a good relationship. December. At Putin's request, Kadyrov gave orders and sent his soldiers to take up positions in the Russian army. The relationship between the Russian president and the president of Chechnya is good, but Chechen citizens have not forgotten what Russia has put them through in history. December. The Chechen people see Ukrainians as their brothers. By Kadyrov's order, the Chechens, who were notorious fighters, served in the Russian army, but their hearts were on the side of Ukraine. And so it happened that Chechen fighters struck Russia from the inside. Chechen fighters who did not want to fight on the Russian fronts agreed with their Ukrainian brothers and ambushed the Russian army. Chechens' hatred for Russia began with Russia's attack and annexation of Chechnya in the past years. Many citizens had lost their lives on its territory because of Russia. Chechen citizens did not forget about these experiences, and while taking part in the Russian ranks to take their revenge in the Russian-Ukrainian war, they ambushed the Russians by agreeing with the Ukrainians. Since the beginning of the war, Ukrainian leader Zelensky has been warning Russia not to fight on Ukrainian territory. He was pleased that Chechens who were in the Russian army went through the ranks of Ukraine. The Russian government, suffering from economic difficulties after all the sanctions it experienced after the invasion it launched on the territory of Ukraine, began to look for money to borrow. The effects of these economic difficulties on the Kremlin have been great. Complaints and responses from citizens and Russian businessmen are constantly coming. As a last resort, the Kremlin saw asking for debt from Russian oligarchs, Russia's elite coterie, as a remedy. However, they did not respond positively to these requests. The reason why the elite group does not lend money is because they cannot see Russia as the winner of this war. They made a negative turn with the thought that Russia will not win and will not be able to pay back the money it received. The Russian government is expected to react harshly to this situation. The effects of the war continue to increase day by day in Russia, where economic difficulties have begun to occur. It is experiencing difficulties in the face of sanctions by Western countries and especially the United States. What do you think about Russia's demand for debt from oligarchs? The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine works not only in the field with its armed forces. At the same time, it also conducts operations to Russia via computer using modern technology. Ukrainian hackers, who managed to break into Russian servers as a result of long work, reached all the plans of Russia. Ukrainian hackers not only reached Russia's plans, but also changed the coordinates of the missiles that were to be fired. The Russian army, which failed to notice that its coordinates had changed, was in great shock after the explosion on their front. They had fired the missiles to hit the Ukrainian fronts, but they shot themselves. The Kremlin has asked for the matter to be investigated. It is believed that the Kremlin will impose major sanctions on the Russian military, which has noticed that Ukrainians have entered its systems and changed coordinates. They were shocked and they saw Russian soldiers firing missiles, the coordinates of which the Ukrainians had changed, hitting their own warehouse. They interrogated the soldiers who fired the missiles about this issue. The commander of these soldiers was suspended from duty. After this incident, those who successfully carried out this operation on the Ukrainian side were rewarded. It is thought that the continuation of these operations will come, but Russia has started working to close the vulnerabilities in its servers. However, Ukrainian hackers are very experienced in this matter and, of course, they find an opening in the server. Russian soldiers do not want to continue the war. The Russian Defense Ministry, which announced the loss of 498 soldiers in March last year, has lost about 70,000 soldiers and commanders since then. After these losses and not finding a reason for themselves to fight in Ukraine and remaining weak in the face of modern technology and powerful weapons of Ukraine, the Russian army does not want to fight. In addition, this situation causes a lot of turmoil within the army. In the face of soldiers who do not want to fight, commanders are forced to give harsh orders. Because Russian commanders are still afraid of Putin. While Ukraine continues the war with modern technology and powerful weapons from the United States, Turkey and Western countries, Russia continues the war with old weapons. In recent weeks, Ukraine has been targeting the regions where there are Russian commanders, especially with the Bayraktar TB2S, in its operations. The long-range HIMARS missiles make Ukraine's affairs much easier. It defeats Russian armies with highly maneuverable HIMARS missiles without having to get too close to enemy ranges. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz told reporters after the group meeting on Thursday about the new weapons they will send to Ukraine. He promised that the government of Germany will be on the side of Ukraine for the duration of the continuation of this war and will provide weapons assistance. Scholz said that Germany had not previously provided assistance to a war zone and had not sent weapons. But he said that Ukraine is different, and those who live there are our brothers and sisters, and said that they are being unjustly attacked and will continue to provide assistance. He said that since the beginning of the war, Germany has sent 15,000 anti-tank, 500 anti-aircraft shells and many weapons and ammunition to Ukraine. He did not give information exactly when the last shipment they will send will be released, but he said it is in the coming days. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry mocked Russia on its social media channel. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry, which defeated Russia with its operation in the Crimea, made a statement after the incident. The Ukrainian military had carried out the operation on the Russian air defense base in Crimea on Tuesday. He mocked Russia for the rising temperatures and smoke in the region as a result of the intense explosions. He said that Russian guests who do not want to spend a very hot summer vacation are advised not to visit the Ukrainian city of Crimea. If you go to Crimea, even sunscreen will not protect you from the temperatures there, he said. It is known that 2 people lost their lives and more than 10 were injured at the Russian airbase. Another development from the Ukrainian armed forces came on Wednesday night. The Ukrainian military, which is carrying out intensive operations to retake the Kherson region of southern Ukraine, announced that it had carried out close to 10 airstrikes last night. Last night, the Russian army experienced an almost hellish night. Until the morning in the area where the bombs exploded, the surroundings were bright until the morning due to explosions and fires. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said that Russian forces were neutralized in the Berislav district of Kherson, and ammunition depots became unusable in Tatanka and Barvinka. In addition, the Ukrainian army, which took control of the railway between Kherson and Crimea, cut off the path of the Russian army, which was decanting ammunition between the 2 regions. While there are hot clashes in both regions, the concentration of the Ukrainian army in both Kherson and Crimea seems to have increased. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry announced last week that they would clear Crimea by the end of the year, but looking at the course of the war, it seems that it will not last that long. What do you think about the course of the war, which has changed especially since June? Specify in the comments.